side that you don't know. I can't wait to get you all alone. Once I'm in, there ain't no letting go. My mind games until you lose control.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, traders? What's going on? Welcome back and happy freaky, funky, fantastic, fresh Friday. Woo! I'm excited to be back, guys. Good morning again. Happy Friday. I am ready to rock and roll and take advantage of this market. We got some good movement today here in pre-market, guys. We got data dropping here at 10 o'clock. Smell opportunity today. I don't know about you, but I smell opportunity. We are going to end this week strong, and if we can, help it, we're going to end the week profitable as well, guys. So let's get you guys prepared for the day. Let's get you guys dialed in and make sure you guys are all set, ready to rock and roll to, again, take advantage of all the opportunity today. So before we dive into it, though, hit me with a big old alpha day trading. Good morning. Who's inside the chat? Who is ready to rock and roll today? You got Corey and Stir in the house holding it down. Good morning, guys. Trucka Ed, Shannon, Steve, Jonathan, Craig. Good morning, Catherine. Welcome back. Since Catherine's here today, I'm going to be singing quite a bit. I believe I can fly. Love you, Catherine. Johnny, Kevin, Joey. What's up, guys? Good morning. Welcome back and happy Friday. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome morning and that you guys are ready to make it happen today, guys. If you guys are on YouTube, what's up? Good morning as well. Johnny's over on YouTube right now. You got Erica. What's up, Erica? Good morning. Hey, Zeus. Gina. Good morning, traders over on YouTube. Welcome to the pre-market rundown. Happy to have you here. We're going to take this time to get you guys prepared for today's trading session, talk about my top stocks, my game plans. What are my expectations? How am I looking to come into the market, navigate the market, and make money, right? So I'm going to take this time to really break everything down, get you prepared. There's going to be tons of value, tons of insights. You guys get my game plans, but tons of education as well. Is how am I building these game plans? How am I taking this time to get prepared? So not only are you going to learn a lot, but you're going to get my game plan so that you can rock and roll with those and possibly be able to earn and make some money today as well, guys. So appreciate having you here. We're going to dive into it, and we're going to start rocking and rolling. Logan, AJ, what's up? Shannon. Catherine goes, you promised you would stop singing. Hey, only when you're here do I sing. When you're not here, I never sing. But I'm going to warm up those pipes for you this morning because I'm going to be singing a lot, all right? Let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's start making it happen here this morning. So this morning, guys, we had data drop. That's why we had that pretty big move down, followed by that pretty nice big move to the upside. So if you guys are wondering, like, what happened to cause the SPY to drop $2 to the downside, right? What happened to cause the Qs to drop $3, over 3 points to the downside? That was like a 3.5 point drop in 5 minutes. Well, we had data this morning, guys, and we had non-farm payrolls and then unemployment rate data dropping here at 8:30. But what did we see happen with the Qs in the SPY? QQQ came down to a key zone of support after that nice big drop on off, and then we bounced on up, right? Same thing with the SPY. We came down into my line in the sand for the day. We came down to that zone here in pre-market. We held it. Now we're bouncing on back up. So we had that initial drop due to data, and then again, we came down into some great support. Support held on up. Now we're starting to see the SPY and the Qs work themselves back to the upside. But there's one other key piece of data that you need to be mindful of today at 10 o'clock. Okay, you do have Michigan consumer sentiment data dropping here at 10 o'clock. This is definitely the type of data that can move the market. So be mindful that at 10 o'clock, you have key data dropping. There's two decisions that you have to make. Number one, if you're in a trade, close the trade. Number two, if you're in a trade, put a hard stop in the system because you do not know how the market's going to move and how the market's going to react at 10 o'clock. It's a gamble. it's 50-50. You don't know if the market's going to rip 5 points, dump 5 points, or be neutral. You have no idea. So if you're going to hold a position without a stop in the system, you're gambling, right? Or you can just flatten that position, wait for data to drop, wait for the market to set back up, and then go from there. So just be smart about it, guys. 10 o'clock, you do have key data dropping, Michigan consumer sentiment data this morning, okay? So what do we got going on with the SPY today? What are my expectations? What is going to be my game plan for today? Well, I want to go back down to that line in the sand, that key area that I've been focused on this morning during my pre-market preparation process, right? Coming in, getting dialed in, getting prepared, looking to see what are my expectations. Where do I think the market could be going? And like you know me, I start with the daily time frame and I work my way all the way down into those lower time frames to start identifying my key zones of support resistance, right? Those make or breaks. And so this zone right here between 456.28 to 456.41 is a key zone for me, right? It's one of my make or break levels for today. I call that my line in the sand, my LITs. So that is going to be my line in the sand for today here on the SPY. And surprisingly, after data drops, we come down into that zone. We hold it perfectly. We have a nice big bounce to the upside, okay? So I'm still going to keep that area on high watch today. If we ever see the SPY return to that zone intraday and we hold on up, that's going to be an area where I want to be looking to play calls for the next leg into top resistance. Where is top resistance right now on the SPY? It's going to be this overhead zone between 458.82 and 459.12. That is going to be my main key zone of resistance for today, guys. Okay, so if we open on up, come on down into that line in the sand zone, and we look good to the long side, we could look to play calls for that move on up into that overhead zone of resistance. What does that give you? That's about $2 and 50 cents to the upside. Yeah, from 456.50-ish up towards around 459. There's about 2.5 points of upside potential today, as long as we hold above that key zone of support, right? But we always need to have an opposite plan in place just in case. Because what if the SPY opens and comes down and falls below that line in the sand, and then we see it, for example, turn into resistance? Well, that would be great indication that we should be looking to play the market short and look to enter puts off that zone of resistance if we fall below it and hold below it as resistance intraday. That's what I would want to see to look to get short and start thinking about playing some puts for the next leg down today on the SPY. Now, how low do I think the SPY could go if we fall below that zone and we see a good short opportunity for today? I would say we have potential down to this 454.04 to 454.35 region here on the SPY. That would be my next lower zone of support if we do look to get shorts for that potential next leg down. And so what is that? That's about $2.50 to the downside. So whichever way the SPY wants to set up, I don't care. If it wants to come down and hold support, great. There's over 2 points of upside. If we want to come down and crack that zone of support and we get short, great. There's over 2 points of downside potential. So I don't care what direction the market wants to go. I just want to see the market set up properly. I would really love to see the SPY come down into that zone, make a decision, and give us an opportunity, right, to take a trade. Whether that's to the long side or the short side, I don't care. I just want to make sure I'm on the right side of the trade. There's great upside today. There's great downside. I'm not biased. I'm not a bull today. I'm not a bear today. I'm neutral, right? What does the market want to do, right? And I just want to wait for the market to come to me, make a decision so I have a better idea of what the market wants to do today so I can find myself on the right side of that trade, guys. So be super patient. Wait for the market to come to you. And I would really want to wait to see if the market could come down to that line in the sand zone and make a decision and provide us with a killer opportunity. And Catherine, I've already got you. I'm already thinking ahead, Catherine. Can I have your SPY chart? You know, I already know it's going to be a question. So yes, you can have my SPY chart, Catherine. All right, there you go. So that's going to be the game plan here on the SPY for today, guys. All right, I'm going to give you a couple key areas here on QQQ, right? Some lower support here on the Qs is going to be where we came down in pre-market and we held on up. That was actually my line in the sand here today for the Qs. That's down between 386.71 and 387.10. Okay. Key overhead resistance here on the Qs right off the daily between 391.17 and 391.43 here on QQQ, right? Those are going to be your two key zones of lower support, overhead resistance, okay? If we fall below that key lower zone of support, it's like how much lower could we possibly go? I would say the next area to the downside that the Qs could get to would put you back down around 384.72 to 385.02 here on the Qs, right? So if we ever come down to that key zone and we fall below it and we look to take a short today and look to enter puts for the next leg down, we have room down to 385, okay? But if we come on down into that zone and we hold on up, that's going to be an area where I'm looking to possibly get involved to the long side and play calls for the next leg up. You know, the Qs would have room from around 387 to like 391. That's potentially 4 points of upside potential today if we come down, if we hold that lower zone of support and see a reason to get long here on the Qs for today. Okay, so again, that key line in the sand that I'm really paying close attention to is going to be the zone between 386.71 and 387.10. Right? 386.71 to 387.10 here on the Qs. That's going to be my key line in the sand. Key overhead resistance, once again, 391.17 to 391.43. Right? And then one of my lower zones of support, right? If we get short, for example, like how low could we go below that line in the sand? I would say we have potential down to 384.72 to 385.02 here on the Qs. All right, Johnny, I got you covered, man. I repeat myself a lot because I know sometimes you guys are getting dialed in with one level. I hit you with the next level. So again, I repeat myself quite a bit to make sure that you know what my levels are. But the most important thing here is how am I identifying these levels, right? So you don't have to always rely upon me, that you can come in confidently and identify these key significant levels, right? But always liking to have some extra validation. As long as this is for extra validation, that's perfect. But I still want to make sure that everybody has the confidence and the skill set to come in and identify these key zones. So when I give off my key zones, for example, all you're doing is comparing my zones to your zones to make sure that we are dialed in. All right, but we are all set, guys. That's going to be the simple, right, really simple game plan today with the SPY and the Qs. It's really easy stuff, guys. Now we got to be super smart, be very disciplined and patient, and just wait for the market to come to us. That's the hard part. Discipline, patience, right, sitting on your hands. Other than that, we're prepared. We just got to wait for the market to come to us and set up and provide us with an opportunity. All right, does anybody have any questions regarding the SPY and the Qs? All right, and before we move on, I just want to say that I'm primarily watching the SPY today. Right, I like the SPY and I like the SPY's location a little bit more than the Qs. Number one. Number two, there's a lot of students in here that can't trade the Qs for multiple reasons. And so it seems like everybody is always really looking at the SPY anyway. And then on top of that, I really do like the SPY over the Qs for today. So we will be putting more of our focus today here on the SPY. And you guys can see I keep it super simple. I have 3 zones on my chart, literally 3 zones with no indicators. You're like, how do you trade, Josh? Discipline and patience. All I need to see the SPY do is come to me and set up. And if that's such a key significant zone, I know that there's a high probability chance that if we come down to this area, something's going to happen, right? There's going to be some kind of opportunity, right? Because that's such a significant level. So all I have to do is just wait for the SPY to come down here and set up. That's it. Trading doesn't have to be that hard. Where traders, make mistakes is the market opens, it pops up, they think it's going to be a great long, they jump in, and then it just dumps out, right? They're just chasing the market. They're just finding reasons to take a trade. They're hunting for setups. I like to keep it this simple. But keeping it this simple is also really, really effective. And this is how I trade and make consistent money, right? Have a couple key zones identified. Where can the market go? And if the market gets to one of these key zones, I already know that something is bound to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know something's going to happen. I just have to wait for the market first to come to me and let it set up, right? And then all I have to do is simply react to that opportunity at that point in time, right? I don't overcomplicate my trading. I keep it really, really simple, and we're all very, very profitable by doing so, right? So keep it simple, keep your charts clean, be disciplined and be patient, let the market come to you, and let's rock and roll for today, guys. We got, appreciate the comment. Scooter Tip saying the best trading channel on YouTube, man. I really do appreciate that. You guys say it all the time. It's one of the most underrated streams out there for sure. So, but hey, the 32 beautiful men and women on the stream, I appreciate you guys being here. As long as I'm making an impact and a positive impact in your trading career, dude, that's all that matters. 32 individuals, 32,000 individuals, it doesn't matter. As long as I'm making an impact, I'm happy that I'm here, and I'm happy that I'm able to serve you guys. All right, and then, of course, our 1,000 students inside of chat. So I freaking love it. Let's talk about what we got going on the Goog. So I'm really liking Google, guys. G-O-O-G. We are now looking to possibly fill said daily gap. So we have this gap from 133.55 all the way up until yesterday's low of day at 136.25. We already know the drill. All we're looking to see Google do is fall below the top end of the gap, which is 136.25, come back up and retest it as resistance, and then we look to get short for a what? A daily gap fill. So we have room from 136.25 down to 133.55, and that's where I'm looking to play puts. So this is pretty cool. If we opened right now, guys, let's just assume 930 is here. We open right now. We're actually opening inside of that daily gap, right? All I would want to see is GOOG bounce back up, retest the top end of that gap as resistance. And if we see good opportunity to get short off that zone of resistance, that's where I start to look to enter puts for that daily gap fill short opportunity down to 133.55. I really like these trades. They're boom or bust trades. You get your entry to the penny. As long as it stays below that zone, you're good to go. If it gets back above that zone, you have a stop, maybe 50 cents above it. So you have nearly $3 of downside with maybe 50 cents of risk. That's a 6-to-1 opportunity. And these daily gap fill setups are high probability setups when they set up properly. So not only does this carry a 70% probability of working out just as a standalone, just filling the gap, now if we can identify even more reasons to take the trade, we just increase the probabilities, right? Put the odds in our favor. But then we have a 6-to-1 opportunity here as well. This is a killer A+ setup, guys. I love it, right? I definitely want to keep some focus here on GOOG for a possible daily gap fill short down to that 133.55. That's my main target, right? There are going to be a few other areas to the downside that you have to be mindful of, right? What are those key levels that you got to be mindful of? You got to be mindful of your 20 EMA and your 50 SMA. That is going to be an area that we can come down to and bounce and hold on up as support, right? What else is right there as well? 135 psychological support. So can we make it all the way down to 133.55? Yes, we can. But does that mean we're going to hold it all the way down to 133.55 and not take any profit? No, we want to take profit because there is going to be an area that we can come down to and see a nice big bounce. 135 psychological support, right at the 50 SMA, right at the 20 EMA. So that's going to be an area that you need to be scaling out, taking some profit. If we continue to drop lower, fantastic. You have room down to 133.55. If you stop falling there, right, and it bounces back up and you stop out at break even on the other half of your position, guess what you just did? You still made money, right? Don't be greedy, secure profits into these other levels of support. But your main target would be filling that gap down at 133.55, guys. So let's keep GOOG on high watch, Okay, AMD for the continuation move to the upside. Look at that big day yesterday. AMD rocked from 120 all the way to 128, and we're gapping up today above yesterday's close and above yesterday's high a day. And that was a strong day, guys. Nice big break through all of this resistance, massive increase in volume, and we had a very strong close. Our close was right at high a day. This is a great indication that we can see a continuation move to the upside. What is one of the best things to see the next day to confirm that we can get that continuation move to the upside? A gap up above the prior day close and the prior day high. What's AMD doing right now? It is gapping up above the prior day close and the prior day high, right? So yesterday's close was at 128.37. Let's readjust that zone. Right here, let's go to coordinates. The first bar, 128.37. All right, let's go ahead and get that dialed in. What was yesterday's high of day? It was at 128.68. So let's just readjust that as well. 128.68, right? So that's yesterday's close and high of day between 128.37, right, and 128.68. We're gapping up above that zone. I would like to see AMD open, pull back into that zone, and as long as we see it hold on up as support and we start to bounce, that's a really good indication that we can see that continuation move to the upside and have another green day on up and see a lot of this momentum and action bleed into today. So as long as AMD can hold above that lower key zone of support between 128.37 and 128.68, we would have room back up into this daily zone of resistance, which is going to be between 130.43 and 130.79 here on AMD. All right. Then if we break that zone and really continue to the upside, the next area that you guys would be getting to here on AMD would be that gap up open and that gap up high a day. That's going to put you between 132.34 and 132.84 here on AMD as the next area to the upside that we could get to. Okay, so you guys know my game plan with AMD. My long plan. There will be a short plan, but that's my long plan. As long as we hold that lower zone of support, right, I'm looking to take this long into PT number 1, that first daily zone of resistance that we just discussed. And if we continue higher, I'm going to continue to hold this up into PT number 2, which would put you all the way up at that daily zone between 132.34 and 132.84 here on AMD. That's going to be my long plan for today on AMD, guys. Right? But we always need to have an opposite plan in place just in case, right? Because here's the deal. What if AMD comes back below yesterday's close and high? And we push back up and can't get above it, and we see that, yep, turned into resistance, right? We look at the SPY's fading. We look at the Qs are fading. We see AMD cracking back below that zone, and we see that zone turning into intraday resistance. Well, that would make for a really nice short opportunity, wouldn't it? So that's an opportunity where I would start thinking, hey, let's get short if we see that type of setup present itself. Now, where could we see AMD go? I would say first target, guys, back into that prior spiking high at 125.74, right? 125.74, that prior spiking high. But I want to see, was there any type of movement in development around that level yesterday? So let's go into a 1-minute time frame. Let's go back and look, and yeah, it broke it, retested it, and continued higher. So here's what I want to do. I see that daily zone or that daily level off that prior high at 125.74, but I see a much better intraday level, and it's actually a zone right here, right? And so that's going to be this zone between 125.72 to 125.95. We can see that we hit it as a resistance. We got rejected. We broke it, retested it, ripped higher. So if we see a short opportunity present itself, that would be my short target, would be down here between 125.72 and 125.95 here on AMD. Okay, so what's my line in the sand on AMD? My make or break. This zone between 128.37 and 128.68. As long as we hold above it, we're looking to play calls today. If we fall below it and hold below it, we're looking to play puts today. That is a key area, and it's very, very significant. It's a make or break for AMD, in my opinion. I'm going to be keeping that zone on very high watch for today. But AMD looks really good for today, guys. I like AMD a lot. And those are the top two option plays that I have. Everything else is kind of like a little bit of a back burner right now. Like Meta, I'm looking to see if Meta can back test this 330 for the next leg down. I'm looking at Spotify for a possible daily gap fill. We've been talking about Spotify all week. We can fall below and hold below 192. I want to get short down the 185.59 for a possible daily gap fill on Spotify. And then there's a couple other back burners that I want to just kind of peek at periodically, like CAR is kind of starting to set up for a moving average squeeze, right? We've been seeing not a lot, but a lot more than we normally do because moving average squeeze formations are rare. But we've been seeing a couple of them lately, and they've been playing out. We had one on Tesla, like 2 weeks ago? We had that Tesla moving average squeeze, played out beautifully. You guys crushed it. We have a few traders right now in Rivian for that moving average squeeze. You guys are still absolutely crushing it. And so I came across CAR, and I'm like, hey, we're starting to set up in a bit of a moving average squeeze. We've been fading, getting back above the 20 EMA, getting back above the 50 SMA, coming back down and holding the 50 SMA as support. Right? Also getting back above the 20 EMA yesterday. And you kind of see how that 50 is now starting to curl to the upside. That's exactly what you want to see. The 200 SMA is coming across these highs. Meanwhile, the 50 SMA starts to smooth out, and now it's starting to curl to the upside, and you have the 20 EMA holding price up as well. Right, that is causing the stock to get very, very tight inside of these moving averages. We call that a moving average squeeze formation. And these lead to nice big breaks and nice big rips to the upside. And that, at first glance, really stood out to me. And it's the same thing we had with Tesla, where it's getting very, very tight in between the 50 SMA and the 20 EMA. We had a nice pop. Same thing we saw with Rivian, right? Getting above it's 20 EMA and then pinned under the 50 and the 200, but getting tight and squeezing, and hurrah, nice big pop to the upside. CVNA was one that we took. Was it last year or early this year? It was early this year, wasn't it? Again, great moving average squeeze. Getting pinned below its 200, holding above its 20, nice big squeeze. Nice big break. We took that trade as well. When I see a moving average squeeze, I want to pay close attention to it because we know what to expect. We could see some big time moves, right? Even ATER last year for the moving average squeeze formation, right? We took this trade. We made a killing, right? Nice little moving average squeeze. Nice big 100% move to the upside in less than a week. So again, when I see something like we're seeing on CAR, a potential moving average squeeze, I want to pay close attention to it because I already know what to expect. And I know that these are some really killer long setups for some nice swing trades. So I'm going to be keeping CAR, right, on high watch. But other than that, everything else is 100% a back burner, right? And I don't even want to waste your time talking about these. Because I'm not even really all that crazy about them today myself, but they will be stocks that I periodically look at. If I see any great opportunity, I'll definitely bring it to your attention. But for today, GOOG for the daily gap fill looks great. Even if we don't get an opportunity to get short for the daily gap fill, right? Let's say we don't have it come to us, it doesn't set up, and we don't have the trade. Right? If we ever come down and close the gap, we could always get a gap fill bounce. So even if we don't get the short, there's still opportunity to take this long for a possible daily gap fill bounce. Okay, so keep GOOG on high watch. You guys have the game plan here with AMD, and then you're all set, ready to rock and roll with both the SPY and here with QQQ as well. All right. Penny stocks are like 50-50 today, right? You had INTS up 200% at one point, coming all the way back down below $10. SOAR, right, was up almost 100% at one point, coming all the way back down below $8 support, right? MBI hasn't really been doing a lot. It's just been kind of sitting sideways all the pre-market. MLGO, it's bouncing on up, but it's underneath a lot of resistance after a massive, massive dump yesterday. I mean, that was absolutely disgusting. That thing went from 15 bucks back down to reality, $2. It may try and bounce today, but right now it needs to get above, this zone right around 290. So it doesn't look fantastic. So, I mean, across the board, small caps don't look fantastic whatsoever, right? You have INTS, that's going to be on watch, SOAR, MBI, and MLGO, but no opportunity right at the start of the day. We got to really sit back and wait to see, where do traders go? Which penny stock gets the attention? Which penny stock gets the hype? And then we know where we should be focused as well. But right now, everything looks pretty 50-50 unless there's something else that I've missed. Right, what about VRME? Is there anything with VRME? Verify Me board approves up to 500,000 share buyback plan. Cut to certain directors' compensation. So they're surging on their buyback plan announcement. That's on VRME. And again, it's just kind of like, it's like, it's not really looking all that great, but let's just keep it on watch at market open. That's all we could really do. We have 5 stocks that have potential to move. We need to see where traders land. Are all of the traders going to go to SOAR? Are they going to land on MLGO? Right now, it's completely scattered, right? All the volume is scattered across these 5 stocks. We need to see where traders go, where traders land, and then what stock has the best volume, the best movement, which in turn gives us the best opportunity. So we'll keep these 5 on watch and see which ones start to move on up at the start of the day, guys. All right. So any questions, let me know. Any stocks that you guys want reviewed that are on your watch list, let me know as well. Yo, what's up, guys? Good morning. Hola, senor. I could barely hear you, by the way. It was like very quiet. But good morning. I heard hola. There we go. Okay, I can hear you loud and clear, good sir. Loud and clear. How you doing today, man? Good stuff, man. I saw your post yesterday in the Slack group. Did you see my DM this morning that I sent back to you? Okay, I'm just making sure. Because it can be easy to like beat ourselves up when we're having a rough week. But sometimes that is just a part of trading. We can't control it. I've gone on, red streaks before. You're just doing everything right, but the market is just not working with you. So as long as you're doing everything right, you're managing your risk, you're following your rules, you're identifying your multiple reasons, and it's just the market has been challenging lately, then I would say, hey, it's a good week. It's an unfortunate week, right? We don't want to experience these weeks, but as long as you're doing everything right, at least it's still a good week. And the one thing that I noticed is you're managing your risk very, very well. You're not taking big losses. You're sticking to your risk parameters that we set. So I would say from my perception, man, is like you've been doing really, really good this week, despite how choppy the market's been. But the market has been a bit, challenging. I feel like a level of resistance on HUT is 925 to 929, but was looking for your confirmation on HUTs. Let's go look at the good old HUTs. Now, when you say a good level of resistance, do you mean resistance or support? Because there's a lot of traders that I talk to that they'll say resistance, but they mean support, and then, you know, vice versa. But if you're talking about support, okay, cool. I just want to make sure, because I'm like, okay, overhead resistance, but you're talking about support. But yeah, I mean, I see a lot of this support down here between like 916 and 926. I mean, you've come down several times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times into this level recently, but not even just recently, but go back and look. We came down, nice bounce, came down, held it beautifully, cracked below it, got back above it, nice big push. So we can see that 916 to 926 is a pretty solid zone here on HUT as support. Absolutely. And what do you have? 925 to 929. So we're pretty darn close. I would just bring it down a little bit more and connect all of these lows. And that's where I'm getting 916 to 926, but we're right in line. FSR, any thoughts? Yeah, it's in free fall mode. FSR, it's in free fall mode. So if you were to try and buy this here, what are you doing? You're catching a falling knife. 80 to 90% of the time, you're going to catch that knife by the blade, and you're going to cut your hand open. Maybe 10% of the time, you catch it by the handle. You get lucky. But right now, this thing is in free fall mode, and there's no indication of it slowing down. There's no indication of it finding a bottom. There's no indication of a potential reversal. It's straight up in free fall mode. So it needs to find some kind of a bottom. It needs to, again, find some structure. But right now, this is the lowest it's ever been. And the way I look at it is, where's the next support level, right? Psychological support would be $1. So I wouldn't really expect to see anything happen as far as like a bounce until you really get down towards around $1. Those would be my expectations. So if it comes down to $1 and you drill down into your lower time frames and you see that there's good price action at $1 and you see it bounce, that could be an area that you get in for a quick scalp for $1 bounce. Maybe you get a couple days of follow through. But right now, I wouldn't really see a reason for the stock to bounce until one of two things happen. Number one, you come down to $1 and there's buyers present. Number two, there's a catalyst. There's some kind of press release that gets this stock going. No catalyst for it to reverse, 100%, and no support for there to be a reason for buyers to be present until you get down to $1. So I would say right now, you wouldn't want to touch it until it comes down to $1, and then you actually see the thing trying to hold on up and actually getting that bounce. Then you could see a nice little bounce, couple days of follow through. We've seen that so many times before. Or some kind of catalyst, right? Some kind of press release that brings buyers back in. But right now, this bad boy's in free fall mode. Yeah, last time on the SPY, my key line in the sands, my lits for today is going to be the zone between 456.28 and 456.41. Lower support down between 454.04 and 454.35. Top overhead resistance is between 458.82 and 459.12. You're on the spot. All right. If you guys are on YouTube, hopefully you guys enjoy the pre-market rundown. Thank you guys for being here. We do this every single morning, Monday through Friday from 8:45 to 9:30. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. So when we go live, when we upload new lessons and new content, at least you guys are notified and you guys can attend these sessions every single morning, Monday through Friday. So appreciate you guys being here again. Happy, safe trading. Stay blessed. And I'll see you guys back here this coming Money Monday at 8:45. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, inside of chat, it's time to rock and roll. Let's have an amazing trading session. Let's crush this market, and let's make sure we're ending this week strong, right? And if we end the week strong, we can probably end the week profitable as well. So come in, be disciplined, do the right things, sit back, be patient, and wait for the market to come to you. A-plus setups, multiple reasons to take trades. Honor your rules, abide by them, and you will have an amazing day, and you will start to see the money following. So let's crush it today, and let's have fun while we do it as well.